Hello, everybody, and welcome to 20XX. My name is Broken Pinky. I'm joined by Weef, and today I'm ready for some action.
Okay. Yeah, no matter where you are and what the weather's like, it's a beautiful day for Splatoon. This is what everybody's been waiting for. This is what everyone's preparing for. Everyone's showing up. All the big teams are here, and we're gonna see some amazing matches today. If you don't know, this is going to be day one of the two-day tournament. So we are gonna be going through the group stage to see who's going to be moving on to the finals tomorrow. But Pinky, are you excited?
You bet I'm excited. Are you kidding me? This is a major. This is 20XX. This is a ginormous event. There was a 20XX that was hosted a few weeks after Splatoon 3 launched, and now we're getting that run back. We're seeing how much this meta has developed in the last 4 to 5 months, and really, I'm just excited to see what all these top teams do, because this is a really big showcase for a lot of teams that don't enter a lot of tournaments, and they get to show why they're at the top and why they're the best.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be messing around here. Everyone has their eyes on the top. Everyone, if you're not looking at the top, you're at least looking to get some really good results under your belt. So nobody is gonna be messing around. Like I said, they're gonna be pulling out all the stops, pulling out the comps that they feel the most comfortable with. They think that are gonna be the best. So we're gonna see some interesting stuff here. We're gonna see the old classics, but hopefully some interesting things as well.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot that this meta has to offer. You know, there's obviously the crab raise, but there's been a lot of counter crab measures that have been innovated recently, and I feel like for these bigger tournaments is where you really see innovations start to happen. But with that being said, we didn't even talk about the set. We have Hex versus Cascade Duck Crew, and we're gonna be starting things off on Zone's Mako Mart. We see Double Splash Machine and T-Tech versus Explosher, Double Splash, and the Splatana Stamper. What do you think of this matchup?
Explosher is a Splatoon's classic, but you don't really see it outside of that, but we're gonna see it, excel where it is. It has that amazing paint and some really good pressure, and already we see one member of Hex go down almost immediately, and Cascade Duck Crew is gonna be moving in as fast as they can.
Yeah, we're already seeing some fight for the zone in mid. This Explo is just doing Expo things, just really sloshing over, trying to take a lot of control, especially around this right stack area. It's so crucial. Crab is set up there. That just goes to show how important it is. And Cascade Duck Crew is already launching a hefty control on the zone. They have a lot of specials at the ready too. They have a Crab ready, they have a Storm ready, but their Stamper goes down. This could be what Hex needs to push back in.
Yeah, they do go 2 down, and that's a bit of a delayed stagger here. It's only the Expo back up, and the Expo does go down, so it's Hex's turn to really try to get their control and try to get a lockout out of here. We saw the Crab go out immediately, and they still have one under their belt, so we're going to be seeing that go out to maintain as much control as possible as these teams do go in. It's looking, the points are taken, and they are going to start, Cascade Duck Crew is going to start thinking about how they really want to get back in here before they do lose lead.
Yeah, exactly. They got to pick on one of the splashes of Hex, which is a great start. This T-Tech is forced to retreat. Both splashes are down on the side of Hex. No crab action is going to come out, and Cascade Duck Crew uses their own crab to push Hex outside of the zone. And they're starting to get close to getting through their penalty. They're about halfway through. Hex is trying to launch a counterattack with those burst bombs. They get the pick on that Stamper. This is how things start. Here come those Tri-Strikes to really try and force Cascade Duck Crew out of the zone, and they do get the cap right now.
The Splash on the right side, though, gets a beautiful pick on the machine and sneaks behind to get the Crab. That is going to be 3 down the side of Hex. It's only that Splash who does have the Crab still left alive, but this is looking really, really nice for Cascade Duck Crew as they are, once again, taking down on their penalty.
Yeah, and Cascade Duck Crew is just holding the zone really well. They're almost through their penalty, and there it goes. Now they're really starting to take down more. Below that 50-point mark, this Crab is trying to get as much picks and assists as possible, but Cascade Duck Crew still has control of the zone. Hex has not really had a chance to push back in. 1v1 versus Splash Machine. This is really important. It goes to the machine on the side of Hex. That's huge for Hex. They get 2 down on the side of Cascade Duck Crew, including that Explosher, and that's going to be an easy zone cap. That might be exactly what they needed, because Cascade Duck Crew has had a lot of control, and now Hex is really trying to set up this hold. They have the Crab at the ready on that right stack. If they can pop it, they'll be in a phenomenal spot.
Yeah, they're really trying to get their momentum going here. It's not going to be easy to get all the way down to 28, and looks like they do lose the zone, at least momentarily. One member of Cascade Duck Crew is down, though, so it's not over yet. And that's going to be 3 down. It's only the Stamper, which means they are Hex is once again going to be on the offensive, trying to push up as far as they can and maintain for as long as they can.
Yeah, and Hex has been doing a great job of holding this zone thus far. They haven't really let Cascade Duck Crew push past the zone, which is really what you want, but they're not pushing up aggressively that much themselves either, and I feel like if they could hold this lockout a lot stronger, but either way, they're through their penalty right now, and they're starting to take down that timer. About 10 zone ticks away from taking that lead back from Cascade Duck Crew, but this is where the pressure starts to come back. Booyahs are coming out. from the side of Hex is being thrown out, trying to hold the zone for a little bit longer, and they do just barely get the lead at 27. They still have a lot of control in the zone. They just need to keep Cascade Duck Crew out, but they're at a numbers disadvantage, and the paint is going to go on favor of Cascade Duck Crew.
Yeah, and they're trying to get picks as well and moving up. That's going to be 2 down on the side of Cascade. It's actually 2 down on both sides, as these teams are now on a bit of even playing field, just a big neutral game in mid, but the Crab comes out, doing its thing, getting so much control and putting so much pressure on the enemy team, and that's going to be the zone going back to Hex, who now has a massive penalty, but more importantly, they're keeping Cascade Duck Crew from advancing their own.
Yeah, exactly, and I mean, that Crab hunting down that Expo was so crucial. The Stamper Zipcaster is out, but it just gets picked off so quickly. The Machine throws the Booyah Bomb, gets shredded by the Crab, though, as we so often see. Hex is at a numbers advantage right now, but with their specials, they're just able to hold the zone so well, and they're almost with that penalty, but they get stopped right before it, and Cascade Duck Crew is able to get the zone back, but they only have a minute left to make this comeback. They have to get it down to 17, and we've seen how good Hex is on this defense. Nice pick on the Stamper. It's 2 versus 3 in the favor of Hex. They can just get another pick. This zone will be theirs, and there they have it. This is looking real rough for Cascade Duck Crew right now.
With only about 30 seconds left in the game, Cascade Duck Crew is going to start to get desperate here. Unless they, play really patiently, their only option is to get this zone back before the overtime kicks in. As they, Hex is just still ticking closer and closer to this knockout here, only about 10 seconds away from knocking it out here once and for all.
Yeah, Hex is just holding this, but the zone flips to the other side. One of the splashes goes down the side of Hex. This is Cascade Duck Crew's last chance. The splash is forced to jump out by the Stamper. This is exactly what they want to see. And Cascade Duck Crew's almost through their penalty. They're about 15 seconds away from taking the lead back from Hex if they can just hold it a little bit longer. But here come those specials. The Booyah Bomb and the Tri-Stick. The zone is being contested. They just need to paint it over, but Hex is 2 dead. Cascade Duck Crew has the paint. They're 3 dead. It's just the splash left alone. Crab in the corner, and that's not going to be enough. Cascade Duck Crew makes the comeback and takes game 1.
What a great introduction to 20XX with a very, very close, very back and forth match that hopefully is a sign of more things to come. Great match.
What a phenomenal start to this tournament. I mean, we said it's a 2-day event. The action is probably going to happen tomorrow, but we're starting off strong. I mean, that was an incredibly back and forth game from both teams, both sides, just showing that they're a force to be reckoned with. These are some of the best teams, It's a major. These are amazing players, and they showed it. They put on a clinic on Mako Zones, but by the slimmest of margins, it just goes to Cascade Duck Crew, and that is a huge advantage in a best-of-3 set.
We didn't get to talk about it much before because we just jumped right in, but these are both Ludi Division 1 teams. Cascade Duck Crew unfortunately did drop out before they were able to complete their group stage, but Hex is a top 4 team in their division. So it's really interesting to see how this is going to go, and, Cascade Duck Crew kind of has a chip on their shoulder to see if they can, prove that they maybe deserved to get a spot in that playoffs that they didn't end up dropping.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Hex is an established team as well. They have a reputation for doing really well in Dapple Production tournaments specifically, oddly enough. But as of now, Cascade Duck Crew is the one that holds set point as we go on to game 2, which is going to be on TC Undertow. What are some of your thoughts on this stage?
It's not the time for my hot takes on this map, but I think it's a very, very fun stage to work on. It has a very cramped mid, but due to just generally the way it's divided, it means that there's a lot of cover, a lot of interesting routes you can take, and it just feels cramped in a very interesting way. Cramped, but it's not unworkable.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of ways you can move around that map, but unfortunately you do have to go through mid. But notably, I think the area of the most contention is that second checkpoint. It's very easy to defend and it's very difficult to push through, but if you can push through that area, things get a lot easier, and that's really where I feel like the make or break happens. That's where teams kind of get stuck if they aren't able to win team fights and get that full wipe. So I think that second checkpoint area is really going to be crucial in deciding who wins this match, and then whichever one gets the momentum can really push that third checkpoint and then knockout afterwards.
That first checkpoint, though, you can sneeze at the enemy team and get it. It's not very contested, as long as you have a little bit of mid control, but we're going to see how these teams really decide to deal with it. If we're going to see similar comps, we saw Cascade Duck Crew run a slightly more off-meta comp with that Stamper and that Expo. We're going to see if that trend continues, or if, they're going to stick with something. They're faced with the set point, and they really, really want to win this, but we're going to see it right here.
Yeah, we're going into game 2 between Hex and Cascade Duck Crew. If Cascade Duck Crew wins, they take the set. Hex pulling out an E-Leader 0 is not messing around. Cascade Duck Crew pulls in a Heavy as their backline, and the Wiper. Interesting comp changes from both teams to try and adapt to this more awkward map.
That's a very aggressive comp from the side of Cascade Duck Crew, so it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays with the Wiper basically being a discount Tetras and the Heavy being a much more mobile backline than that E-Leader is, but we're going to see how this goes in this first team fight here.
Yeah, but Zero is a very strong leader, and Leader has a lot of presence on this map, as does Crab Tank. We're already seeing the Crabs come out, but one team has paused their Crab each. Hex is trying to go for that first checkpoint, but they know it's not smart to go for. Cascade Duck Crew is burning through their Crab, though, and this team fight is really telling the Tri-Stars are coming out, trying to keep the splash away from Hex's territory, but neither team is able to get a stable hold on the tower. Hex pops a Crab on it, but the Crab is forced to jump out and gets the run over on one of the splashes, but now both teams are 2 down. This action's just been non-stop for the first few seconds.
It looks like Cascade Duck Crew is in a decent position to take this first checkpoint here as they're getting players jumped in. That Heavy is going to be holding the area in front of it, so that's the first checkpoint gone. You know, we said it's only it's very easy to get though, so it's definitely not a stable push, but it looks like they are going to be making good use of the momentum that they do have here.
Yeah, Cascade Duck Crew has a lot of meta on this offense. They're getting close to that second checkpoint, but they know it's being contested, and they're 2 dead right now. Hex has all 4 players alive, and yeah, that Heavy's just going to get collapsed on. The Wiper was wise to run away there, trying to stay alive and keep a little bit of pressure, but Cascade Duck Crew is going to have their push stopped, and Hex is already pushing forward. Got the pick on the Wiper, got the pick on the Splash as well. 3 dead. It's just that Heavy splatling alive for Cascade Duck Crew, and Hex is pushing up aggressively here on this push, and they're already through that first checkpoint.
Look how many specials Hex has. This is going to be a great push for them if they're going to be able to use those wisely. All 4 specials on board. We see the Wavebreaker go out, and I'm betting we're going to see a Crab go out here soon. All 3 members of Hex just sitting on that one block. It's a great spot to hold, so not too surprised there, but they did get through that second checkpoint, and now we're going to see that snowballing that you talked about here potentially. As all 4 members of Hex are down, that's going to be a wipe.
Yeah, Cascade Duck Crew just gets wiped out there. Hex has multiple players on that tower taking down that 3rd checkpoint, and they're getting really close to this knockout. They just have to hold it for a little bit longer, and they are gonna do it, and that's Hex getting the knockout in Game 2, and already, first hit of the tournament, we are going to a Game 3 series.
That was the complete opposite of that last set. We saw Cascade Duck Crew take a bit of a good first showing there, but ended up backing off and going down, and then Hex took it and ran with it. So we're gonna see how these teams fare on the 3rd map. You know, Rainmaker, Hagglefish, a bit of a different map than a bit of a different game than the first 2, with Rainmaker being a bit faster and just generally, you know, it plays differently. It's a different mode. So we're gonna see how these teams fare and who's gonna come out on top.
Yeah, I agree. I think Rainmaker suits Hex's style because Hex's style is to just run over you with momentum and just keep the momentum of the push going for as long as possible. And if you can stop the push a little bit short, that's where Hex is really vulnerable. And that's what we saw in that Splat Zones game. They had a lot of momentum going. They pushed that zone down to 18, but once they got stopped, it was hard for them to get back in. So maybe a fast-paced mode like Rainmaker will work to that advantage, or maybe they'll get stuffed a little bit early. But I think Rainmaker Hagglefish in general has a lot of interesting decisions you can make. Some teams have been opting for that left side checkpoint. You know, it's a lot easier, it's a lot less contested than the mid checkpoint, but that mid checkpoint obviously has that jump where it's very risky, it's very hard to get a top level, but if you do make it, it's a lot of points on the board very quickly.
I mean, that left checkpoint though, it's in such an awkward spot to push further forwards, but it's also in an awkward spot to defend. But we do see teams going for that mid checkpoint, but it's just a map with some great perches for backlines and stuff such like that. So we might see the E-Leader back out from Hex, or we might see something a bit more aggressive for the aggressive mode that Rainmaker is. So once again, you never really know until we're getting into it, but we will be getting into it pretty soon here.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that leader, it did really well for them on tower control, but like you said, that faster paced mode of Rainmaker is just a little bit harder to get good value out of it, because a lot of times that team is going to be pushed up past that leader if the leader is not the Rainmaker carry. So a lot of interesting decisions to make about Rainmaker. It's a pretty complex mode in that there's a lot of options you have with your carry, which way you want to push, how you want to coordinate. It's why I love Rainmaker so much, honestly, because sometimes you just have a lot of big decisions to make, and sometimes you just Leroy Jenkins it to the next checkpoint. It's an interesting mode in that way.
Yeah, and we have seen it rise in popularity since we have gotten that checkpoint, because we don't see games that end in 30 seconds anymore. We do see it occasionally, some very, very fast games, but it's never going to be quite as short. You're never going to get that one opening push that just sells you the game exactly as often as you did before. So that does make it a bit more balanced. It makes it a bit more fun, because you're never going to be in that situation, generally.
Yeah, and I mean, fun is kind of the story of this set, because it's just been wild back and forth extreme momentum swings from both of these teams. You know, very high highs, very low lows on both sides. And I mean, it's interesting to see how these things will sort of clash as we go in, because both of these teams had a very solid win under their belt. Obviously, game 1 was a little more contested from Hex, but still, both of these teams proving that they're strong teams for a reason. They're Div 1 for a reason. They're incredibly solid teams, and they want to have a good first showing in this tournament.
Yeah, the pressure is normally on when you're on stream, but especially if you know you're going to be the first one in a major tournament like this that people might be looking back on. So, but these teams are they've been around the block. They know what it's like to be pressured. But it looks like we're going to get into it pretty shortly here.
Yeah, we are going to get into it here. Game 3 between Hex and the Duck crew here. Loading just a little bit, and there we go on Rainmaker Hagglefish. The leader comes back on the side of Hex. Cascade Duck Crew is going to be bringing out the Tetras instead of the Wiper, trying to lean more into that aggressive style. Yeah,
are we going to see the E-leader on Hex's side just completely shut down their comp, or are they going to be fast-paced enough that they can shut down the E-leader? So that's going to be something to see, but we're going to see as Cascade Duck Crew gets that first pop, it does go 1 down, so it's interesting out there in mid.
Yeah, that Stamper, Hex has been doing an amazing job of containing that Stamper, because ordinarily you would think Stamper would have a good matchup against Splash. You know, you outrange it by so much. You can zip cast her all around. You can just break the cap so easily. But Hex is having none of it. They got 3 dead. It's just that Tetra, and that Tetra's in a real awkward spot behind them, trying to get some value. But no, they just get picked off, and Hex is in a phenomenal spot. They broke that first checkpoint. They broke the Rainmaker once again. They have Cascade Duck Crew 2 dead. If they can get the Rainmaker again, they can get a phenomenal push off of it.
That E-leader is so far forward and in such a good spot, but they do go for the jump, does end up failing, and does end up failing a second time, but actually they do get the 33 points that they did want, even if they did end up falling off. But Cascade Duck Crew is going to be starting to go back out. They do have 2 members up, but that T-Tech is back behind them. I don't know if they've been noticed yet, but that's a great spot for them to be sharking if they can get the enemy team catch them completely off guard there.
Yeah, but Hex just had a phenomenal push. That leader just barely made that jump for 33, and that's kind of the bare minimum of a good push on the stage, just because of how important it is to get that jump. The Stamper going for the flank of the leader, because flicked instead. The leader turning the table. Zero is just doing an amazing job, and Cascade Duck Crew 3 dead. That's the wipeout, and Hex is another opportunity to push if they can just be careful about it and push up fast as possible.
Yeah, but they do have a sizable lead here. You know, all the way up to 20 points, all the way up to 14, and now they're feeling pretty comfortable. You know, it's never over until it's over, but you're not ever unhappy with a lead all the way down to 14 points, especially when your team members are still there and still are fighting. This T-Tech over here is tearing it up until they finally do go down, but that did put a major stop, is going to put a major stop on Cascade Duck Crew's rollout back in the mid here, as it's basically back to neutral with the pop going to Cascade Duck Crew again.
Yeah, Hex's T-Tech has just been an utter thorn in the side of Cascade Duck Crew, just being so obnoxious and so difficult to kill and so difficult to pin down, and if you ignore it, the T-Tech's just going to shred you so quickly. And I mean, just look at the time. It's been 2 minutes 20 seconds. Cascade Duck Crew has not gotten a chance to pick up the Rainmaker once. They haven't scored a single point, and they're still 2 dead versus Hex, who has it all the way down at 14. And Hex already has another amazing window to push. They just need a little bit of pain in front of them. It's just that splash left alive, but now Cascade Duck Crew is starting to respawn. Hex is trying to be patient. They know they have a phenomenal lead. They do not want to blow it at this point in the match.
Yeah, going down could completely turn the tides here, so they're going to try to play a little bit more conservatively, you know, use their specials wisely, and take a push much more patiently than they would at the beginning of a match, because they do have that's such a strong lead there. So we do see Cascade Duck Crew start to go in yet again here. They do get their first push off, but that crab is going to be a thorn in the side. But they do almost get the first checkpoint here right before they get popped.
Yeah, Cascade Duck Crew getting so close to getting that first check. Nice pick onto Seth. That T-Tech is dead. That's what Cascade Duck Crew's been struggling with. This could be their window. Crab is trying to deal with the one on that perch area. Not quite able to get that pick. Never mind, they get that splash. Cascade Duck Crew has that checkpoint. If they can make this jump, this will be a phenomenal position for them. One is staying back, trying to pop this maker. They have to make it here and now, but one is trying to contest it. They go down. Hex is 2 dead. Cascade Duck Crew is 1 dead. They need to make this jump. They ought to go the other side, but it's just the T-Tech alive for them. This is going to be closer to the lead. They get the lead just barely. They're going for the knockout. They don't quite get it. They miss it just barely, but there's still 3 there.
The pressure is absolutely on for Hex. They're still there. They need to go in, but they have to play it patiently. And it's going to be 3 down on the side of Cascade Duck Crew. That's going to be 4 down. That's going to be a delayed wipeout there. But they that's the pressure. That is exactly what Cascade Duck Crew wants. Everything short of a knockout. You're not going to get the 2 points again easily. So Hex has to play this wisely. They only have a minute to make it that far. They can't play patiently. They have to go fast and they have to go strong here. So we're going to see if they're going to be able to take it back, or if this set is over, basically, for on the side of Cascade Duck Crew. So we're going to see if they can make it back. Oh my god.
First of all, beautiful trick shot from Zero there. I'm not sure if you saw that on that left flank. That was ridiculous. But secondly, shout outs to Cascade Duck Crew. Just that, oh my god, another amazing shot. But Cascade Duck Crew is doing an amazing job of pushing up quickly as soon as they have the advantage. That's what they're comparably left to, and they're playing it absolutely amazingly. And right now, Hex is scrambling, trying to get some control. That Leader's trying to jump in, pick up that Rainmaker. Leader has that Rainmaker. We're gonna be going into overtime. This is Hex's last chance to get a push going. They don't have any specials online right now. There's a Crab on the side of Cascade Duck Crew for defense. There's a Zipcaster that's probably gonna go Rainmaker hunting. Here it comes. Can Hex protect it? If not, the set is gonna be over. The Stamper is getting behind him, being so annoying. Stamper is still alive. They're forced to recall. This is so scary for Hex right now.
Even if they didn't get the pick, that would waste so much time. They only have like about 15 seconds to make it all the way to 2 points. And with that Crab going out, is not going to be easy. And that is the Rainmaker. That is the game. And that is the first set that we see in 20XX going to Cascade Duck Crew.
Incredibly well played from both teams, but Cascade Duck Crew was just so clutch. We saw it. They were down for like the first 3.5 minutes of that game, but they got one push opportunity. That is all they needed. They got it down to 2 points. They wiped Hex twice, and that is the end of it. Cascade Duck Crew beautifully played set to them, and they are going to take it over Hex.
That is why you never give up, even if it looks bad, even if you're on a even if you've already taken a game loss, really dominant from Hex there, and already are pushed back so far. You can always take it back. There's never, it's never over until it's over. So that's that. That was a great first set.
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to be a great omen for what's to come. We're about to see a phenomenal tournament ahead of us, and we're just in the first round. There's a lot more to come, both today and tomorrow. So stay tuned and stay in your seats, because there's a lot of action to come.
But we're not going to be going to a break. We have our lovely friend Jem here from Squid School over on the analysis desk, and we're going to be tossing it over to him.
What's up, everybody? So that was a phenomenal set to start things off. You love to see the Game 3 finish on any match that you're going to see on tournament. Always a lot of fun. We're going to start off here looking at the Mako Zones match, and one thing I really want to talk about here is actually the comp that Cascade Duck Crew brought out, because I think that this comp is really interesting. They're running with an Explo and a Stamper, which means that they're going to have a lot of long-range pressure, and all of that long-range pressure is going to combo really well off of itself. So you're going to see Explo shots comboed with Burst Bombs, and Burst Bombs comboed with horizontal or vertical flicks from the Stamper. You're going to see just a lot of pressure, and that is kind of how they're able to seize control right here at the very beginning of the match. Some interesting skirmishes happen back and forth. Typically what's happening is one player is going down, and then right when they go down, everyone pops specials and is able to take zone. So it's gone back and forth quite a bit like that. But we get really close to the end here, and one of the things that's worth noting is that during none of these holds did either team really get that far past the zone. So it all boils down to one last special push at the end of this, and when that special push happens, all of the specials end up going down on the zone for Hex. And so Cascade Duck Crew is able to just paint through those and go for picks on the players who threw the specials. You see on screen the machine going down there, and that ultimately leads to Cascade Duck Crew having the numbers advantage, being able to paint through those specials. The zone never flips, and they're able to take the lead just narrowly there. Phenomenal game, very close, everything we come to expect from Mako Zones. Game 2 was all Hex though. Hex clearly had a plan for how to play this, and what I really want you to focus on here is what they do when they get control of the tower right about here. So they're on defense at the moment, but they'll put one person over on the right-hand side, but then everybody is going to rush the left, because really the left here is what matters. The left is where the tower has to go. And so since they all control the side that the tower is on, they're able to overwhelm the defense. And look at them all shift over. They're already right in front of the tower. They're on that left-hand side. The right doesn't matter. They're leaving it alone. There's a wall in the way. The tower is not going to be contested from the right-hand side. And so they're able to put up a really great push here, and there's a really clutch tri-strike that gets a double here and is able to just secure them a very early game. Look at the placement on this. Gets 2 players, another one went down. Beautiful clean wipe. So great play there from Hex. And that will do it for the matches that I had recorded. I made a little bit of a whoopsie there. But on Hagglefish Rainmaker, like we saw, very, very clutch Rainmaker defense there. We had at the very end everybody panicking, everybody diving in a little bit too soon, everybody just rushing forward as much as they could, and that was a really great scramble to watch at the very end of it. I would love to have been able to show you exactly how that happened. I made a little bit of a mistake there. This is our first time on this analyst desk. We'll definitely get it a little bit figured out better for the next time around. But I'm looking forward to being able to talk about more of this tournament with all of you guys, and let's turn it back over to our casters.
Hello and welcome back. We are going to be going into round 2 of 20XX. I am Weef and I'm here with my wonderful partner, casting partner, Broken Pinky, and
We're not dating, I promise.
Alright.
But yeah, we're here for round 2 of 20XX. We're going to be watching Nightmare versus the Hood here. Both of these are pretty strong teams. I believe Nightmare's also Div 1, or maybe even higher, I don't know. But these are incredibly strong teams. Weef, what are you thinking of this set to come?
I am excited. It's if the first match was anything to go off of, this is going to be fantastic. Yeah, just really great. I believe you are correct in saying that Nightmare is Div 1. They did get knocked out in the first round of playoffs, but still, top 8 in Div 1 is absolutely nothing to sneeze at. So these guys are definitely going to put on a show.
But I just want to quickly mention, this is 20XX. This is a prize pool tournament. You might have noticed that prize pool has gone up a little bit because, yes, you guys can donate to that prize pool. Shout out to the few people. I think we got 2 $20 donos. Shout out to you guys. Make sure to donate if you want to. But with that being said, we're just going to get right into it here on Clamless Museum. We see the leader on the side of the Hood as opposed to Double Splash Machine T-Tech on the side of Nightmare.
Yeah, a bit of a more aggressive comp versus a comp that's going to be amazing at holding mid here with that E-leaders able to see everything. You are not going to be able to hide from them. So we're going to see how this open and big fight goes. And already, wonderful pick from the side of the Hood onto Nightmare, which does lead them into Nightmare going 2 down, which is going to put the Hood at a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, but notably, I would like to talk about the specials coordinations here because right now the Hood has that V Junior with that big bubbler, but considering Nightmare has 4 weapons that all have specials that really shred that bubbler, I'm not sure how much value the Hood is going to get out of it. But regardless, the Hood is pushing up incredibly quickly. They already have 3 on Nightmare's plat. This machine is going for this 1v1. They do win it over the T-Tech. Storm not quite able to make it happen, and that's a huge pick for the Hood right now. The crab is going to pop right on top of the machine, but the machine still gets it nonetheless. Beautiful pick. Machine is going to go down, but gets 2 huge picks. And the Hood is able to pop that basket, but they don't have a lot of people to get more clams in there.
Yeah, no, the E-leader wisely backs out there before Nightmare would have collapsed on them. But that is a little bit of a push. They do get a few points there, but that does give Nightmare a pretty clam to work with. And it gave them a ton of mid-control since they weren't able to sustain that push. They were just able to come right back out, and they're already taking advantage of it. You said that big bowler would get shredded, and it definitely did right there. But Nightmare is starting to back up into mid, but they still have the grounds for a very strong push if they play their cards right.
Yeah, I think Museum Clams is one of the best clamless maps that's hard to get to that basket because it is quite a long journey to get all the way through the enemy plat in order to get to that basket at the very end. But if you can get there and if you can get a strong hold, it can be devastating. And that's kind of the ebb and flow of Museum Clams, where one team pushes up a little too far, they get wiped out, and that gives the other team a chance for a push. But the team that just got wiped has time for defense. It's a very interesting sort of play that we don't really see on a lot of stages in this game. But one tries to go over the flank of the machine. The machine gets taken out, gets caught out. This crab is trying to find this T-Tech, but Storm is staying alive just barely. But this assault from the Hood is very hard for Nightmare to try to push into.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes into the game and we've only seen one real push and not even a sustained push. So it's been a big slogfest in neutral here as these teams just vie for the basket. Like you said, it's very difficult to get there, but Nightmare is doing it with a wipeout and plenty of clams on the board. They're going to go ahead and get a 60-point push with more to come if it's anything to look at by their specials and the amount of clams that they have.
Yeah, beautiful crab spot on the side of Nightmare on that upper Great Bridge. Incredibly difficult for the Hood to contest, and you see how much difficulty they have contesting it. And Nightmare, off that push and from that crab's momentum, is able to get it down to 20, get it down into 19 even further. I don't think they'll be able to get any more clams in, but getting a push down to 19 as your first in the game is definitely strong. And Nightmare still has 2 minutes to make another strong push, and they're still on the Hood's plat, still applying pressure up there as the Hood tries to move back into mid.
Yeah, patience wears off if you're waiting for the perfect opportunity to push in clams. You do get stuff like that where you just get, 80 points, 81 points actually, all the way right off the bat in, about 20 seconds. So that's the power of a nice coordinated push where you get plenty of control, and look, they're still there. They're still applying pressure. The Hood cannot even think about going back in the mid right now with only their leader and their splash player up, and Nightmare is looking like they're going to go for it soon yet again.
Yeah, patience is a virtue, but their ball carry did get taken out. They just do still have more balls at the ready. I think they're going for a jump. No, they're not quite able to get it, but they're still just applying pressure on that basket. They're still popping it multiple times, but notably, they gave the Hood another pity to work with. It's a free power claim for them. They can use that to convert to a lot of momentum, but Nightmare's had all the control of this game, or at this point in the game, and there's only a minute left for the Hood to respond, and they have to get it all the way down to 18 or lower.
Yeah, it's not looking great for them. I'm going to keep it 100. Look, they do have a few specials to get out of mid, but they have to actually use them in a very coordinated manner in order to get here. And Nightmare is still just putting so much pressure in mid. They're not giving up space no matter what, which is just huge. And look at that. Like, the two members of the Hood go down immediately. That's the leader going to be gone. That's going to be their ball carrier. And Nightmare gets another one in. They're definitely collapsing on them, and they're going to get that super jump in. Only a few points left until they KO here. Can they get the clams in time is going to be the question.
Yeah, they just need 2 more clams. They have 2 clams. They throw it in there, and Nightmare taking a very strong game 1 over the Hood. After 3 minutes of not a lot of action, Nightmare said, we're done being patient. We're just going to come at you with full force, and with great use of that mid spinner, Nightmare is able to take game 1 over the Hood.
Yeah, what a very dominant showing from Nightmare there, showing that they definitely deserve their placing in their div versus the Hood there. Just awesome play. You know, that first push is exactly what you want in a clam blitz game. You don't get much better than that. Just being able to hold for such a sustained amount of time with their well-timed specials, it's just awesome.
I mean, just wonderful play from Nightmare all around, and just beautiful on that defense to make sure the Hood could only get the power claim in and nothing more, and beautiful on that offense, just really suffocating the Hood. And now the Hood has to respond here on Zone's Inkbot, or they're going to lose the set. And what are some of your thoughts on this stage?
It has a very cramped mid with that tower, which does make it interesting because the zone is decently sized, but you have to work around all of that cover and all of the other blocks to really make it work. I think we're going to see the E-Leader again. I think that is, even though these sightlines aren't the best, you'll still see it on this map. And I wouldn't be surprised if Nightmare stuck with their guns with that incredibly aggressive comp that they have, since, you know, it can work pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, Nightmare just has an incredibly versatile comp, and the Hood had a lot of difficulties with their comp. I feel like they were just losing a lot of fights, and their E-Leader could not get a lot of value off of it, and that Junior just kind of got shredded for a lot of that game. So I'm interested to see if the Hood is going to opt to change their comp and their strategy a little bit, because Inkbot, you can just get locked onto your plat so easily. It's just such a strong choke point, but we're going to have to see their answer here and now. They answer with the 52 gal instead of that Junior. Nightmare opting to bring a 52 gal of their own to this battle.
Yeah, no more T-Tech. They decided to bring out the 52, and, you know, something must be in the air for them. Both of these teams be choosing 52. They're looking for those walls. They're looking for the incredibly fast kill time that it has. And right off the bat, we're seeing Nightmare out here going ahead to charge a crab and already getting 3 down. Wow.
Yeah, that's just an immediate wipeout for Nightmare, and they're pushing in quickly onto that plat. They already have 2 onto the plat of the Hood, and this is where that lockout can start. If they can somehow make a jump out of that mushroom and get a crab on there, that would be devastating, but they're just content to hold it and just stay strong. This machine is taking control of the slick area, trying to stop any drops that are happening, but the Hood is responding with some specials. Here comes the whale and the crab, trying to pick off as many members of Nightmare as possible.
I don't know if you saw that, but that crab got immediately shredded, even all the way up on that snipe, and the Hood is once again 2 down with no specials on the board. It's only going to be that leader who's going to be, you know, really struggling to maintain control all by themselves. Just if they get rushed down, it's pretty over for them. But, you know, Nightmare still has that Booyah on the board. I'm guessing they're pretty close to crab too, and they're already on like 20 points left on the board. They have that crab. They're going to be able to hold it for just a little bit longer here, it looks like.
Yeah, but that Booyah got off the board quickly as that machine died, and now the Hood is trying to contest the zone. Nightmare still has the majority of the paint, and they're gonna get that cap, but the Hood can still respond. They just need to get a pick, but instead it's the Hood that gets picked. The zone timer is taken down, and Nightmare is gonna take the set with the clean 2-0 over the Hood, absolutely dominating them in that game too.
How long did that set take? That took like 5 minutes max. No, very, very fast set, especially with this zones game where Nightmare once again showed what they are made of. Showed that they go down and don't give up space, but that's gonna be the set going to them. Super dominant showing from them.
Yeah, that was just incredible speed. They were done with waiting in that game 1. They waited for 3 minutes, and they said, we're not waiting anymore for the rest of that set, and that is a clean 2-0 over the Hood, exactly what you want to see in a tournament as big and as prestigious as 20XX.
Yeah, 100%. And so that, yeah.
It's definitely a rough showing for the Hood here. I mean, they kind of got rolled over here, but there's still some time left in Swiss. They have a few more chances to run it back, but Nightmare showing to be an incredibly strong team very early on in this bracket.
Okay, and now, right after a short ad break, we are going to be throwing it back to Jem over here on the analysis desk.
Should be right here. No. It was still running. Oh, man. Hello there. Do we have it on? All right. Well, that first game on Clamblitz Museum, I did want to talk about that because that is a phenomenal example of how to play Clamblitz. For those of you who are watching here who may be more familiar with it from playing solo queue or something, there are a lot of ideas that people get about how Clamblitz is supposed to work that don't really work at a competitive level. And something that I wanted to show you guys was the way that Nightmare is able to make that push work by keeping the basket open. That's the important thing. They had a couple of opportunities earlier on where they were able to get in, but they weren't actually going to get anything done by doing so. And so they didn't try. They didn't try to go in and get the score until they knew that they had control of the area around the basket. So they ended up just going in once they had that control, maybe a minute in, and that was when they got their really big push. You don't need to go in every time you have a power clam that you can score. A lot of the time, it's more of a valuable option to score as soon as you have control, and take your time and wait until you get that moment. Once they got a clean wipe, they got everything they wanted on that setup, and they scored all the way down to 19. And that's typically what you see out of top-level Clamblitz. You're going to see them go in and get really, really huge scores, but maybe they only score like once in the match, and that's all they really need. Because on defense, the teams are so solid that you really need to kind of clear them out if you're going to get really anything done. A mistake that was made on the part of the Hood was going in and trying to score, but not having control of the basket. And they ended up only getting that score to 80 plus 10, which at this level, when they're coordinated, they're going to be able to beat on the very next push, and they do. And the thing about pushing with that situation is that you're going to give the enemy team a power clam, so they're going to be able to score even more by the time you get down there. So then when the Hood tries to push in later on in the match, they are trying to push without control. They don't really have the entire area around the basket. They don't really have a lot of follow-up. They don't have someone who can go in to keep throwing more clams in to keep the basket open. And so then they decide to back up. And again, that's the wise decision for them to make. But that was clearly Nightmare's game and Nightmare's set. And we saw it on Inkblot. Inkblot was a huge snowball that Nightmare were able to just push and get going. And that can kind of happen on Splat Zones. All you really need to do is win a couple of fights on Splat Zones. It's not like you have to pick up the Rainmaker. It's not like you have to get on the tower and stand there. You can just kind of stall. Zones is the only mode that you can win by just kind of like doing nothing. Just like getting the enemy team to not go somewhere and do something. As long as you can stall them, as long as you can waste their time, as long as you can just prevent them from accessing a certain area of the map, you're going to be able to win it. Which means that, you know, it can make it pretty quick and devastating if one team is able to get control and hold it for a long time. So very strong showing from Nightmare there, and we're looking forward to seeing how far they can make it in this absolutely stacked bracket. So many insanely good teams. We're not just talking about the best in North America, we're also talking about the best of the best from Japan that are infiltrating into the North American top teams in some cases, or just creating their own to try and stomp everybody. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of these players, because we really do have some of the very best players on Earth in this tournament. This is not just a North American tournament. This is going to be a test for every North American team that thinks that they can hang at the highest level. I'm very curious to see how the rest of this is going to go, and good luck to Nightmare in surviving all that ways into the bracket to be able to meet one of those top teams. I'm going to go back to our casters now to wrap things up for that set and bring us into the next one.
Probably like. Hello everyone and welcome back to 20XX. We are here in round 3. My name is Broken Pinky. I'm joined here by Weep and we're about to watch the Flying Dutchman versus Defrost.
I'm excited, definitely. Already so far we've seen two very different matches so far. We saw round 1, which is so close, and round 2 was a bit more of a blowout with a really fast KO from Nightmare there. So we're gonna see what we have going into round 3, the Flying Dutchman versus Defrost, like you said. So we don't, not really knowing what to expect here. I believe this is a Ludi Div 3 and a Ludi Div 2 team, but Ludi Divs are so long ago for a lot of people, so it's like, you don't really know what to expect anymore. But we're gonna see here soon as we are on the weapon select screen and waiting very patiently.
Yeah, teams can just improve so rapidly that even the Ludi Divs from so many months ago might not even hold that much weight, but what does hold weight is that both of these teams are currently 1-1 at this point in pools, and they really want to get as many wins as possible because going down 1-2 in pools this early could be could lead to poor prospects for making day 2, but if either of these teams can continue to win out, they have a decent shot of making that top bracket and being on the stream tomorrow. So this is a critical point for both of them. They would really like to get this win over the other, but I mean, neither are opponents to scoff at. The Flying Dutchman and Defrost, both really solid teams, but ultimately, one of them has to lose, one of them has to win, and we're going to be starting things off looking at this map list. It's going to be Rainmaker on Flounder for Game 1. We have some thoughts on the stage?
Rainmaker Flounder is very interesting. I think Flounder Heights is one of the most controversial maps that we have right now. It's so polarizing. So many people love it and so many people hate it. I know you belong to one camp, and would you like to explain your thoughts there?
I think Flounder Heights is amazing, and I think too many people approach it like it's a Splatoon 3 stage. It's not really played like a Splatoon 3 stage because it's obviously from a different game, but the way people use their specials and the way people would intuitively want to use them doesn't really work on that stage, and the same positions that make sense for other stages doesn't make sense. So you kind of have to relearn how to play the game for Flounder Heights specifically, but if and when you do, it's just an amazing stage with just so many alternate push options.
We don't really see Rainmaker on this stage that often. When we do see it in competitive map pools, we usually see the zones, obviously, because it's zones, and we also see tower control. But the biggest problem that I think persists along all modes in this map is that when you're on defense, when you're down low and you're trying to come back out into mid and trying to gain your advantages back, you have to fight uphill, which is just really difficult, especially when the team is set up there. You have to fight an uphill battle, quite literally, to get back out. So that's something that can be a little bit irritating about the stage, and I think that's most people's biggest gripe about it.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of good, there are a lot of bad. It's also quite a long route from spawn if you want to go for a flank, so it can lead to the match sometimes being a little slow paced, and it can be very snowbally, especially on a mode like tower control, and even on a mode like Rainmaker where the checkpoints are pretty close to both where the starting position is and the goal, but I don't know, it can be very difficult to sort of get a strong push started just because of how strong defensive positions can be if you set up correctly by each checkpoint.
We were talking about top bracket earlier and how both of these teams really want to win because they all want to make day 2. But speaking of top bracket, we do have a really large prize pool here of $1,445.12. We recently bumped up from $1,440 by a generous donation of $5. So, if you're interested in supporting the top players in our scene and keeping the scene healthy, definitely throw a few dollars in there. But we're looking into starting this game here pretty soon, I believe.
Yeah, and don't forget, all of your donations are going directly to some of these amazing players that really just fight their way all the way through brackets. So if you want to support some of the best teams in this game and some of the best players we have around, and if you have some money to spare, please feel free to just donate it to the prize pool and just support this wonderful community and help the Splatoon community grow as much as possible.
We do apologize for the delay here. We are having some awesome Splatoon 3 moments behind the scenes with some disconnections and some weird loading screen locks. We're not really sure what's going on there, but we're gonna try.
Difficulties.
Oh yeah, fun technical difficulties. It's par for the course. It's Splatoon 3 for the Nintendo Switch, with Nintendo Online being as awesome as it is. It's bound to happen. So we're gonna continue spitballing here for another few minutes while we wait for the game to load back in and for all the players to get back in. And so, do you want to keep talking about the map list? What else do we have?
I mean, there's some other stuff in the set worth going over. We have Game 2, which is going to be on Clamlet's Eeltail Alley, which is one of the few modes where Eeltail Alley actually functions, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a, you know, it's this wet spaghetti noodle of a map. It's very, very long. Very long, very narrow. I don't know how else to describe it. That's what makes sense to me.
I mean, it is a long spaghetti noodle, but it is kind of weird with all those clam scoring places. You can score off bridge, but you have to jump off bridge to actually make it into that basket. So it's a little bit awkward. But if Eeltail is different because its mid is kind of extended. Like, it feels like its mid is a lot bigger than the mid of other stages. Like, just the place you have to control. So, and especially on Clamlets, you have to be able to control just a very wide area to really warrant a strong push that we've been seeing on a lot of Clamlets maps and that we saw in the previous set on Museum.
Yeah, and also, you know, that we're going to see definitely crabs here because getting a crab up on that bridge is a massive, massive advantage here. It's just super, super strong. You can just completely suppress the enemies coming out of their spawn from just that one spot, especially if you have 2 or more splashes cycling crab, making it impossible for them to move and making the game very, very playable.
Exactly, and while this match is going on, or while we're waiting for this match, there are still more matches to be played. Notably, there's some teams that are already done with round 3 and are up 3-0. We have finally up here 3-0. Flippa Floppa and Ozone are 3-0 in Group B. A lot of teams are really making some good charges for Day 2. Alliance Rogue and Sortion Phase 2. Alliance Rogue is 3-0, very strong team. Makes sense that they're at the top of their group. Graveyard Shift is 2-0, currently playing their round 3 game, but there's just a lot of great Splatoon happening that we can't fully capture on stream, but I mean, a lot of teams are really trying their hardest to just get a strong spot into the bracket and really ensure that they have a fantastic chance of winning the tournament tomorrow on Championship Sunday.
Oh, yeah. I see in Group I out there, we have Destiny Bond and Tempest both up 3-0, so that's going to be fantastic to see as they continue on. Definitely going to have to face each other at some point. There's just a lot of really great teams out here doing really good jobs.
I mean, all these teams are working hard. They want these wins, and even in some other groups, we see Kagura in Group D up 4-0, 4 wins and 0 losses, not dropping a set on the day. Yeah, some teams are already just moving on ahead, just trying to get the momentum going, trying to keep it going, but that's other sets for this set. We already talked about the first 2 stages, but if we do make it to that decisive Game 3, we do have a very interesting stage to look forward to.
Definitely. I believe that that 4-0 is because of a drop, most likely.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, but definitely so. I love Splatfest time because our wonderful streamer here could not skip the news, so we had to sit through the news as well.
No.
But while most squids are out there turfing it up, we are committed to the pursuit of ranked excellency and competitive excellency, and not playing Turf War. Most notably, not playing Turf War.
Never playing Turf War, but while those technical difficulties were going on, I believe DeFrost did win that game 1 on Rainmaker Flounder. We couldn't quite see it. I'm sorry, but I apologize. But I think we're gonna be going on to a game 2. If my sources are correct,
we should be. Actually, we did see game 1. It just happened so fast that you blinked and you missed it.
I mean, hey,
I'm sorry. I saw it though.
They played on Rainmaker Blackbelly, I guess. You know, just knocks out that quickly. Just get the team fight and go.
Awesome. So we unfortunately could not see how Flounder goes, and I couldn't prove you wrong. That's a good stage, but
it's a good stage. You're just backline. Cry about it.
You cry about it. We are going on to, once again, Wet Spaghetti Noodle, Eeltail Alley. Really, really living up to its name of having an eel be its namesake there. I never quite connected the dots there. I wonder if that was intentional.
It's always intentional. You know, they just want to have it be a nice straight line, just like an eel, you know, because eels can never have any curvature in them. And I mean, it's about the size of an alleyway. So you know what? That makes sense. I've backed into a few alleys in my time. It feels just like playing on the stage.
I don't even want to hear the context behind that, but we are, yeah, like we said, super interesting map where you have to have a lot of control to end up pushing, because like it can be pretty cramped out there in the basket, especially if you don't have something like a crab watching your back. and just getting there in the first place is a whole process. You just really have to play well to get to the baskets in the first place, which, I mean, it's the story of how Clan Blitz goes, but it's, you know, it's especially amplified on this map. But we are finally going to be going into it.
Gameplay!
Between Defrost and the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah, and Defrost, I believe, is going to be the purple team here, running that splatter scope versus the E-Leader on the side of the Flying Dutchman. So, very interesting ideas. Both of these teams wanting a charger, but they want a different charger. Obviously, Defrost opting for that ink vacuum on that splatter scope, but the splatter scope going down immediately. I'm presuming that E-Leader. Or that's an E-Leader. I'm blind, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we see already a crab from bridge watching really well, and the splatter scope as well, just making sure that, you know, you can't move into mid. There's so many open sightlines here for that splatter scope to take advantage of, and they're already getting picks left and right and building up clams. They, you know, they're definitely starting to think about a push here.
Clam economy is definitely in the favor of Defrost. They have 7. They have a ball, but it's on that splash, which is kind of short range, but they have that vacuum trying to help push it in, and they do break that basket. That splash is still behind them, trying to just get around, get some nice kills, be annoying as possible. They do have 1 down. They have 2 down on both sides. It's just that leader left for the Flying Dutchman. Defrost filing and trying to get some clams in there, trying to get some safe jumps. But the crab gets sniped by the leader. Beautiful play from the leader on the Flying Dutchman, and that push is looks like it's gonna stop at 62 for now.
Yeah, we saw that ink vacuum, you know, really initialize that push and allow the clam there to get in, you know, proving it is the one true teamwork special. We do see this E-Leader just kind of being contested there. You know, Defrost is still in their base. Defrost is going to end up shredding that crab and just continuing to be an absolute annoyance in the Flying Dutchman side, as they're not quite able to make it into mid fast enough.
Yeah, the Flying Dutchmen need to be able to fly out of their spawn at this point, and they're just being locked in there. They were down 2v4 for a while. Both crabs are coming out on the side of Defrost, just trying to just keep this stagger as much as possible. Defrost breaks the basket once again. They're through their penalty too. Starting to throw some clams in there, but it's just the charger left alive. Both the splashes on the side of Defrost go down. I'm not quite sure what happened, but a great defense from the Flying Dutchman is able to come out, but they really need to be taking advantage and pushing as far forward as possible here.
Yeah, just taking mid is the name of the game in this map. You can't stay in there for too long, or it just feels extremely awkward to fight in, just because of how open it is, how little cover there is, and the cover that there is, it just feels restricting. They, you know, but we are seeing Flying Dutchmen start to roll out here. They get 2 picks on the side of the of Defrost, and are starting to move up into this their court area, into their plat, and are gonna end up getting 1. That's 2 clams in. They do take the lead here, and they are still alive to potentially get in more. No, they are not.
Yeah, you jinxed them. The commentator's curse coming into play, the classic, but the Flying Dutchman only needed that 1 window. They got 3 clams in there, and they got the lead through another one for good measure, and that's a lead they needed, because even if we didn't see it, Defrost won that game 1, and if they win this game 2, that's going to be the set for them. So the Flying Dutchmen really have to be careful and keep this lead to stay in the set. But right now, Defrost has a ball at the ready. They threw it onto that machine. They're passing it back and forth, just trying to keep themselves ambiguous and trying to set up for another push.
See the crab once again going on bridge. This is going to make that E-Leader's life basically hell. You cannot hide very well from a crab there. If you're not standing out in the open sightlands where it's normal fire can get you, it's going to just shoot you around the corner if you're standing in that spot. But the E-Leader does live. The crab actually goes down. That's going to be a wipeout on Defrost. They did take the lead there, but the cost of that lead was getting wiped out, and they are, you know, Flying Dutchman is wasting no time in getting in as fast as they can and, you know, trying to set themselves up for a nice fat counter push.
Now they're starting to fly. This is where their team names coming together. They broke open that basket. They're not quite through their penalty. They just need a few more clams. They have that lead at 42. They don't have any clams left. It's just on that leader that needs to make it to the basket. Here they come. Get it down to 30, 27, a little bit further. There's a ball jump trying to get the basket. The ball jump gets picked off. There's still some clams coming in. They get it down to 18, but there's no one left there. That leader's coming from spawn, and Defrost is already by that basket under that bridge, still getting pigs. An aggressive counterpunch from Defrost as we enter the last minute of the match.
They're playing hot potato with map control right now, as they just keep on flipping it back and forth. We do see, you know, 2 go down on the side of Defrost, and this puts them in a pretty awkward position, as they only have 50 seconds to take the entire map back and get down to 18 points. That's about 40 points that they have to score in about 40 seconds if they really want to take this back. And, you know, their mid is all the Flying Dutchmans right now. As, you know, the crab goes out, they're going to be starting to push further and further up and making this really uncomfortable for the for Defrost through here.
Yeah, the Flying Dutchman is really finally starting to win their fights, and just in time too. With that overtime, they have about 45 seconds left to defend, but if they can hold that defense strong, they can just suffocate it and bring it to a game 3. Everyone from Defrost is going down. It's just that Charger that's been staying alive. Machine is coming back from spawn, but the Charger's getting pressured right now. Big Bubblr is protecting the leader too to prevent the counter snipe, and we're going to be going into overtime here. There's only 25 seconds for Defrost to respond and prevent it from going to a game 3.
Even less. If you lose about 20 seconds, you know, it's not going to be easy. Even if they, you know, the travel time there is going to be about 5 seconds on its own, and that's if they have the map control. And it's looking pretty bad for Defrost right now, as they are 2 down, but they're going to, you know, throw everything they have at getting into mid. They might get the score here. They get the score here. They have the chance to take it back, but they are 2 down. It's not looking great once again, but they were able to get it in. That's only going to be the Charger with 0 clams left. Unfortunately, that is going to be the game going to the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah, the Flying Dutchman executing a beautiful defense there in the last 2 minutes of the match, getting a very strong push of their own all the way down to 18, which is just an incredible play, and they were able to hold on just long enough to run Defrost out of time and take it to a game 3.
Yeah, the really pivotal moment of that match, I feel like, was Defrost getting wiped there. They got the lead for just a second, but it wasn't worth it because they gave up all of their control, and that's really what took it here. But we are going to be going to our second game 3 of this tournament that we've seen today, with these guys both going to be duking it out on Splat Zone's Brinewater Springs.
It's the Tetris piece map, yay! But Zone's Brinewater is an infamous map mode on the stage. We already saw both teams have a Charger. Defrost bringing that leader, I'm pretty sure, and leader just absolutely shuts down this map if it's played right. And I can imagine both these teams are going to be playing it just because it's so devastating with just how far across it can reach. But also that flank route is very important to keep in mind. You can get there with spawn armor, and that can just be very, very devastating. It's right outside of that objective line. And it's just so it can be difficult to be wary of if teams just focus on the zone.
Yeah, that's basically your drop there is one of the only areas in the map that leader can't really get to you too well. So utilizing that at the right times and maybe using your specials to help you with there just is going to be the key here. And, you know, getting a lockout setup is your eventual goal. This map is very easy to lock out with the straight line up to their spawn. So we're gonna see what happens out here.
Yeah, a lot of the best weapons in this meta just utterly break Zone's Brinewater. I mean, 52 gal can throw a wall on that ramp. You have the crab, but we're gonna get right into a game 3. As we're already going into it really quick, both teams bring out a leader, both teams bring in a splash, but Defrost is going to bring 2 of them, as opposed to the Junior and the T-Tech that's going to come from the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah, we're already seeing leaders taking shots at each other, taking shots at their the other team, just, you know, trying to make their presence really well known. And yeah, that's going to be the Flying Dutchman getting the pick on Defrost leader. That's going to be huge for Flying Dutchman's ability to move across mid. So that is a great outcome to this opening team fight, as they already take the control for a brief little bit.
Yeah, the Flying Dutchman just got an amazing opening pick, but that leader's going to go down, and that really takes the wind out of your sails on this map, because all of a sudden you can't move freely at all, and Defrost is going to really take advantage of it. They have Flying Dutchman 2 dead, and they're pushing aggressively through their ramp.
Yeah, they're wasting no time getting up here. That's exactly what you want to be seeing, though. Unfortunately, the machine is going down, and the rest of them are going to be staying back in mid with the crab going out on top of that box. But we do see the Flying Dutchman start to flank. We see the T-Tech out here being very, very sneaky, going to get the jump on this one player, but able to get the pick. And now the leader is looking away. So even though the zone is ticking down very rapidly, it's looking like the Flying Dutchman is starting to get some control back under their belt.
Yeah, and Defrost got it all the way down to 32, which is an amazing push, but notably, now that the Flying Dutchman has stopped it, they have near full activated LDE, which is an amazing opportunity to make a counter push. They can really make a last-ditch effort here, as the special wasn't, or as the ability was intended, but Defrost is not taking this lying down. They have popped both crabs, trying to just keep the Flying Dutchman out of zone as however possible. The crab gets the pick on the T-Tech, and that's going to result in the retake. Leader gets the snipe on the other leader. Defrost leader has just been so devastating in this game, and that just goes to show the strength of Defrost as a team and leader on this map.
Yeah, Defrost used all of their specials there for the control, which just means that they're not going to have anything to sustain it, but it looks like they're not really needing anything. Just the power of the machine lobbing those fizzies up in their ramp and getting into the right spots is just going to do the bulk of the work here. But it does look like the Flying Dutchman is going to get control back. But Defrost is, the crab is out. They are one down, but they are not out yet. They're still defending their ramp fervently as Flying Dutchman is going to start to move in, place their bubble, get their leader in a really, really tough spot to defend against. So we'll see how this goes here as their score is going to be starting to tick down.
That was an insane double kill from one of the members of the Flying Dutchman, though. That was exactly the defense they needed. The T-Tech goes down, but right now the Flying Dutchman just has to control it for about 10 more seconds to get this lead. Weebomb comes on a zone. Nice pick on the leader. It's just the crab left alive for Defrost to defend the zone. They're not going to be able to do it. The Flying Dutchman just trying to hunt them down and get them in zone, but more importantly, they take the lead back from Defrost. If they can get this pick on the splash, they get it. If they can push up and hold for like 10, 15 more seconds, they will get this knockout. Beautiful sniper from the leader on Defrost. Defrost is not out of this yet. They want to stay in this game, but the leader from Defrost goes down. It's just heart-pumping action going back and forth right now.
The zone was flicked, but the T-Deck on the side of the Flying Dutchman was up there, getting the pick, getting a pivotal pick there. So even though the Flying Dutchman has a big penalty under their belt, they did get the lead, and they are going to, be in favor as they are going to continue to push, continue to be in really annoying spots to get out of, as is customary on Brine Water. And now this T-Tech is once again just annoying the enemy team so much. It's going to go for this crab, making sure that they can't get much use of it and get the double. It's only the leader, and they're looking really good for them right now.
Yeah, T-Tech is one of the best weapons in this game for a reason. You can just be so mobile. You can shred so easily with your main weapon, with your bomb, or with your tri-strikes. Such a synergistic kit and such a strong kit, and the Flying Dutchman has been using it absolutely tremendously this game. They're almost through their penalty, and once they get through it, they'll be in real danger of getting this knockout. Defrost has to act. And now, their crafting is coming out. The T-Tech gets sniped by the leader, but there's only 10 points left in the zone timer. But Defrost is able to get 2 picks on the Flying Dutchman. They have to move into zone now. They're in. They get the cap. There's a minute left for Defrost to make this comeback now.
Yeah, leader goes down. That's huge. They just have to take as much space as they can with that leader going down while they can move pretty freely right now. The members of the Flying Dutchman are backing up. They're going to try to play conservatively here, try to get their specials, try to get everything up, try to get the resources to get back out, as if Defrost is starting to encroach on their lead now. They're just going in, though. This splash here is going to get a few picks out here. The bubble's going to go out, the crab is going to go out, and that's going to be the zone continuing to tick down. It's looking really, really scary out here for the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah, Defrost is through their penalty. They have 10 seconds until they get this lead, and only a few more after that to get this knockout. Here comes the contestant on the zone. The zone is being painted. It's being contested. The crabs are coming out. The strikes are coming out. The Flying Dutchman is able to defend it a little bit longer. They have the cap of the zone. They're stacking a penalty back onto Defrost. Defrost is 2 dead right now. There's 10 seconds left in Defrost. Needs to get control of the zone to bring it into overtime. Booyah's going to come out, try and play the zone. 4, 3, 2, 1, but that's not going to be enough. It's still contested. The Flying Dutchman have control in the 11th hour, and they take the set over Defrost 2-1.
A few more seconds and that could have ended completely differently, as the Defrost was starting to get back in there, but a heartbreaking loss for Defrost and a triumphant victory for the Flying Dutchman as they win this set.
Yeah, we could not quite see all the Defrost had to offer on game 1, but the Flying Dutchmen were just ridiculously strong on their pushes on both Eeltail and on Brinewater, and they were incredibly smart to make sure to stay alive and to keep pressure as much as possible. Even if they were down, they knew they were not out, so just incredible play to them as they go up 2-1 in the standings right now.
Yeah, that's going to be the end of that set, though. Great set. Even if we couldn't see the first game, we were unable to see Defrost take the victory there, but I assure, based on how both of those other games go, assuredly that was a strong fight from both of them. So that is going to be it from us for now, as we toss it over to Jem on the analysis desk to really tear down this set into its barest components and see how it's going.
That was an awesome set to watch. Really a lot of fun seeing the back and forth between them, because there were so many of these lead switches that were happening there, and I think it was really, really entertaining. Whoops. Whoops. I think that was really entertaining to watch from the perspective of a viewer, because we never really knew who was going to be in the lead until it was all over. We've got, first of all, Clamblitz Eeltail to talk about, which the narrative there was that the defense was phenomenal from everybody involved. The Flying Dutchmen were able to keep the enemy team back despite Defrost getting control of their bridge, which is the really powerful defensive position that you have access to on that map. So really, really happy to see that people are finding ways around Crab Tank on bridge on Eeltail. Because that's always been the thing about Eeltail Alley, especially with a map like Clamblitz, where the Crab Tank has view of your goal, it has view of the right-hand side with the sponge and everything, has view of the left. So really, really happy to see how that was pulled off by them. There are a couple of great examples there of the lead being held by letting the opponents get a little bit more of a lead, but then being able to wipe the enemy team and storm back over to the other side quickly. We had a couple of instances where one team would get the lead by like 1 or 2 clams, but then they were immediately able to retake the enemy side, get all the way over there, and completely shut the enemy team out from mid and get a stronger score themselves. And that ultimately was how Flying Dutchmen were able to get in there. FLC talked about that map mode a while back and was talking about how as soon as a wipe happens, you need someone in their base. You need someone to just get there and completely starve the enemy team of their ability to move out onto the map. And that was something that Flying Dutchman was able to do to be able to take that win, especially at the end when they didn't really have to score and they just decided to let the enemy team crash into their crab tank, try and push into mid, into these difficult positions to push into where there's not a lot of cover, as our casters talked about. So, well played there by Flying Dutchman to come back, especially after a loss on game 1. That's always difficult to do psychologically with momentum. So, really love to see the way that they were able to play that. Then Zones Brinewater for game 3. This is a map that's just so chaotic and so crazy. It's a map where the zone is tiny, and so controlling it means you need like absolute control around the entire place. A single tri-strike with 2 shots, 1 on each side, is something that you can just use to take the zone. So it's all about having overwhelming firepower and being able to bully them away. You can put an E-leader up in those strong positions, which was something that we saw both teams deciding to do there. And double crab tank is really awesome. Double crab tank is a great way to be able to push onto the zone, like we saw from Defrost on one of their retakes. They just popped both of the crabs at the same time, and both of them covered different angles, and that was able to keep everybody away from the zone. So really great job there. But that also meant that there were no specials to hold in that situation, so Flying Dutchman was able to get control back as a result of that. We did see a great example on Brinewater of the T-Tech flank. That flank on the left-hand side is so powerful on Brinewater because it's a direction that nobody's going to be looking at. They're all looking at the zone, and they're not going to be looking at their back right, which is where you're going to have to look if you want to see that flank coming in. So definitely really well played for their T-Tech player to be able to get that pick in that crucial situation. But ultimately, it was Flying Dutchman that was able to get the fight win right at the end with their strong special push to force their way out. It was looking really dicey there with the Splash being able to flank all the way in onto the ramp and get in their back line. But they held their specials, they held their ground, they were able to make a strong defensive push, and when they got 2 players down, it was already game over. You know, you look at that clock ticking down, and you know that the enemy team just doesn't have enough time to stage another push and be back at the end. So really, really clutch from Flying Dutchman. Extremely impressed at their defense, especially at their ability to be behind, but to make the right plays patiently, to be disciplined, and to be able to come back and take the game in very clutch fashion. Really big fan of the way that they played that defense, the way that they didn't go in and just get randomly picked. So it was really good stuff from them. And I hope you guys all enjoyed watching as much as we did. I'm going to pass things over now, I believe, to, it might be an ad break. But that will be it from the analysis desk for now.
Hello and welcome back to 20XX. We're getting right into it. We're going Chewits Mafia versus Yum Fries here. No time to waste. We're just right into it.
Speedrunning transitions here. 90% world record.
Already we see a bow coming out along with a ink brush, which is something you don't see very often. I'm very excited to see from the side of Chewits.
Yeah, this is... Sorry, hold on. Just to give a little bit more context, this is Chewits versus Yum Fries here. Round 4 of 20XX, in case you forgot what tournament this is. But more importantly, both of these teams are currently 3-0. And if they get the win on the other, they'll be at 4-0 in a phenomenal spot to make day 2. So this is an incredibly important set for both of them. And right now, Chewits Mafia is taking advantage of that. They have such an interesting combo with Spore on that ink brush. Has that whale at the ready. Tri-Stringer, as we've mentioned. But yeah, we're just... getting right into it. Chewits Mafia is already at that first checkpoint. Yum Fries is forced to retreat on the splatter shot, and it's just so far away from the action. So hard for them to really affect the objective here, but notably, Chewits Mafia has that checkpoint reset on them. They have to get it all over again. They're trying to just stall on the tower for as long as possible, and it looks like they're going to break that checkpoint.
Chris there just dancing as fast as they can there. Chewits is still looking really strong, especially with that crab going up. It's going to be really hard for them to get back in on the side of Yomfries, but it's starting to go back in on their favor. But all 4 players are up on both sides, and Chewits Mafia is still there.
Chewits Mafia is just doing an incredible job on this offense, but right now they're 2 dead. Yomfries has that chance to get just back into mid. This leader's pushing out. That's generally the sign that the team is trying to push forward. That Brush is dead. The Machine is dead on the side of Chewits Mafia. Most of the offense is gone. It's just that Splash left alive, and Yomfries is really trying to make a charge for that first checkpoint.
Yeah, this E-Leader player is going to be holding this checkpoint as much as they can. Unfortunately, it is everyone down except for April on the Splash and that leader, and the leader does go down. So it's looking pretty bad for them in terms of the longevity of that push, especially as Chewits Mafia waste no time in getting up as far as they can. The Brush, they have 2 killer whales up, and both of those are going to be targeting that crab that comes out instantly. And this checkpoint is looking... It's contested, and now Chewits Mafia is 2 down, so it looks like their push is going to start to fizzle out here. Very back and forth game so far.
Yeah, neither team is able to get a substantial push going. Chewits Mafia just barely got through that first checkpoint. Yomfries not even managing to get that far. This has been a very stally match for the first half, but we're entering the second half of the game. Yomfries has a lot of control on the board. They do have that leader on the tower, but that hero shot is going to go down. Ooh. That leader's going to go down as well by, I don't even know who, by the Brush. Beautiful bomb from Spore, not even being able to be detected, and as soon as Yomfries tries to get some momentum, Chewits Mafia is able to stuff it out, and that's just been the story of this match so far.
Yeah, but Chewits does not have a very sizable lead. They did get that checkpoint broken, which is huge, but it could be anyone's game here. All they need is one big advantage. We're going to see the Brush out here going on the flank, trying to catch the members of Yomfries off guard. Not fishing out too many picks so far, but just being an absolute thorn in their side, making sure the leader is distracted, but not quite getting the picks that they wanted.
Yeah, you know that Spore wanted to get that pick on that leader, but it just did not quite happen. This leader's just trying to be annoying to this bow as possible. If Yomfries can get that bow down, that would be a huge pick for them. They get the splash down, though. That's also huge, getting that crab off the table. They're at that first checkpoint. The bow is down, too. Yomfries has the advantage here. It's 3 versus 2, my bad. They're coming from spawn. The tower's being whaled, though. Double whales are coming on the tower. The leader's trying to survive for all they can, trying to break this checkpoint. They get it. Can they get the lead? They can get the lead. Yomfries finally breaking through that first checkpoint, finally getting a lead going, finally getting a push going after almost 4 minutes.
Oh, beautiful pick from that Trizuka. Beautiful double from that Trizuka, proving that this special is, if you can't use it well, you don't get much benefit out of it, but if you can get beautiful picks like that, you're in a massive advantage there. They are going to start to push further and further up. The crab is on the tower, and this Brush, even though it's going for the flank, is going to be watched very closely. Not going to catch too many people off guard there, as the shot just keeps moving further and further up. But that does look it's going to be 3 down, and that is going to be pushed over. And we're going to see if in the last 45 seconds, Chewits Mafia can make the comeback that they so desperately want.
Yeah, the shot moved a bit too far up on that push, could not be useful on that defense, and right now, Chewits Mafia has to make a push happen now. They have that tower special charge, they have 3 specials at the ready. 1 whale is burned, they have another whale to go. They don't have their crab yet, but they do have the Booyah Bomb to help hold the objective for as much as possible. The other whale is being popped, and Chewits Mafia is approaching that first checkpoint they broke, but the Zuga gets the pick on the machine. That's a huge pick, that's the only special that Chewits had left. The crab is about to run out too, and there's only 10 seconds left in this match, and Yomfries is doing a phenomenal job holding this first checkpoint area. That's 3 dead.
Yeah, that's going to be everyone who's around the tower down. It's only the Brush who's going to be just diving in. That's going to be a wipeout, which ensures that Yomfries gets this first game.
Beautiful first game for Yomfries. They were just stuck in... that was the most neutral tower control Hacklefish I've ever seen, and Yomfries is able to break through once, and that was all that they needed to get that win, and just a beautiful job on defense time and again gets Yomfries game 1.
Yeah, it did look like Chewits Mafia had the upper hand for quite a bit, but like you said, they did a fantastic job on offense, finding that one opportunity they had and taking it to the max, and then reeling it back on defense and playing patiently and ensuring that they have good advantages before they go in. But unfortunately, we did not have to get, we were not able to get some background on this match before we jumped right into it, so I just wanted to give some background. Chewits Mafia, a very iconic team from the UK, hasn't been too active lately, but, you know, are coming back for the threat of getting into that top bracket, the threat of getting the clout and, you know, getting a bit of that prize pool money. And we also see Yomfries, who is a pickup of nice high-level players, so it's definitely not over, especially after that first game. we have the ever-present dilemma of a team that is established, a bit more established, versus a basically brand new pickup. So it's always fun to see how that interaction goes, but we'll see how it continues.
Yeah, and we've referred to that prize pool a little bit, and that prize pool just keeps growing. Thank you guys so much for your donations. During our break, we had a $100 donation come out from an anonymous donator, as well as a $20 donation. That prize pool is getting nice and high, so just want to say thank you guys so much in Twitch chat for just supporting this high-level Splatoon gameplay, because it's just been insane right now. We're only in the 4th round of Swiss, and tomorrow is just going to be the full bracket double elimination beatdown, and it's going to be ridiculous. And the support of the community is insane, and is why we're able to put on amazing tournaments like this and just deliver this amazing action to you guys.
Yeah, but we are still in the middle of a round, and we're going to go on to Rainmaker Sturgeon. And we're going to see what these teams can pull out here. We're seeing the same comp from Chua's Mafia and a slightly different comp from on the side of Yomfries.
Yeah, Panda's going to be on that splatter scope instead of that leader, opting for that ink vacuum as we go on to Rainmaker Sturgeon. This first pop pretty important, and it looks like it's going to go to Yomfries. Chua's Mafia goes 2 down immediately. It's just that brush and that bow, and they're going to really struggle to get in. Brush is in Fight Club trying to get a pick. They get picked off instead, and now Yomfries has a phenomenal chance for a push.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be going for this left route, which is so protected in terms of just getting that checkpoint, but they do go down. I believe it's something like a fizzy from that machine, really putting the pressure on there, and that is going to be 2 down on the side of Yomfries, who are just going to have to try to maintain their control as mid as much as they can here, as they do go into a bit of a disadvantageous state.
Yeah, that jump camp is so good from Chua's Mafia, just beautiful presence of mind, and Yomfries has a very fragile lead. It's only at 82, but as we saw in that last game, both of these teams are very good on defense, so a good push could be hard to see. But right now, Chua's Mafia 2 down once again. This machine is very far back. It's just the machine and the bow that's coming from spawn. Yomfries has a phenomenal chance to push. There goes that machine. It's just that bow trying to get some defense going, and now they have that Rainmaker again. Looks like they're going for that right side checkpoint.
Yeah, Chua's Mafia just has been just kind of a revolving door of players, going down, coming back in, and then going down again, just never really fully up and coordinated. Right now we see that bow go down. Even though they have a few specials up, they are going to kind of struggle to get Yomfries out of here with the 2 splashes, both with crabs that are still facing them. As once again, the brush goes down, they're just struggling to get out. This crab is still there. It's just Yomfries is doing a fantastic job of holding their court really well.
But Yomfries still gets the checkpoint. The Leroy Jenkins through the Toxic Mist. Beautiful play, and getting that first checkpoint down is crucial, but unfortunately Yomfries goes 3 down, but now they know in any future pushes they might have in the next 3 minutes, they don't have that checkpoint to deal with, and now Chua's Mafia has to get some points on the board. Finally getting some points on the board. They have to choose which route they're going to go. It looks like they're opting to go on that right side. 4 on that brush is trying to push ahead, but the Rainmaker gets picked off behind them, right in front of that checkpoint, and Chua's Mafia does not have this number advantage. Spore mashing for all they can, but it's just them alive, and Chua's Mafia forced to retreat as Yomfries takes control of their court once again.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. They were so close to getting that checkpoint, and that is a good morale boost as they saw how close they were, and Spore is going to be out here tearing it up, getting some picks, and making sure that Yomfries is 3 down, which opens up yet another opportunity for Chua's Mafia to make a push, especially with that Booyah Bomb here. It's very likely that they are going to get the checkpoint coming out.
But Chua's Mafia needs to stay focused. They do get that checkpoint, but the Rainmaker carry dies, and that's going to be them 2 down. 3 down. It's just that Splash-O-Matic forced to retreat. Chua's Mafia, once again, not quite able to get this lead from Yomfries. The checkpoint broken from Yomfries early was just a bit too much. Chua's Mafia forced out, and they only have 2 minutes left to get past that checkpoint.
Yeah, but all they have to do is touch the very inch past that checkpoint, and they do take lead back with only 2 minutes left, so it is anyone's game here. That is, you never are feeling comfortable with a lead that is only the checkpoint, and especially when it's just one singular point. It's anyone's game here. We just Chua's Mafia just has to take it back one more time, and that is their lead here. But it looks like Yomfries is going to be on the upper hand here as they start to push forward and forward. The crab does get picked, meaning that it is going to be looking a little bit less good for them. But the brush goes down as well, and they're starting to push up further into the plat, just kind of conserving their mid-control for a good opportunity to push, making it count, and staying patient.
Yeah, both of these teams have incredible patience, and that's why their defense is so strong, but Fries overextends just a little bit. Both their splashes are down. The brush is in their court. This is exactly what Chua's Mafia is waiting for. They're starting to get some picks. The Rainmaker has to move fast. They get the lead just barely, but now they're trying to keep going for a stronger push. They get it to 42, which is not a lot of points. They can get this pop, they can convert it down to the 20s, and they do exactly that, getting it down to 21. Beautiful Rainmaker carry from, I believe, Spore there on the Ink Brush, and all of a sudden, Fries has to get it to 20 or lower in just 45 seconds.
And they're still there. Chua's Mafia is not going to give mid control up easily, especially when they have 3 members up and likely just going to be positioning as strongly as they can in mid. We see the brush go for a pick there. Unfortunately, it does go down, leaving a bit of a hole in Chua's Mafia's defense, but they are going to be looking pretty strong here. They do have the upper hand. You know, the pressure is on for Fries, and Chua's Mafia can kind of sit back a little bit and conserve the resources for an overtime situation here, as long as they play it right and don't go down.
Yeah, Fries, the onus is really on them. They really have to push aggressively. And Chua's Mafia, they have all the time in the world, but they need to make sure they don't get careless. If they mess up this defense and they get the lead taken from them, they lose the set here. And we've established that both these teams really want to go up 4-0 in the Swiss stage. But Fries, so far away from getting it down to 20, they're just not quite able to get any picks because Chua's Mafia is just staying so safe. They have a whale and a crab at the ready. If they're popped on that maker, a lot of pressure will come on them, but Chua's Mafia is being smart and being wise to be patient. The splash goes down on the side of Fries, and a crab is popped, a whale is popped as well. Chua's Mafia is just trying to get this Rainmaker down without exposing themselves too much.
Patience isn't always a virtue when you're in an overtime situation, and it looks like they only have about 5 or so seconds before they are going to end up exploding. This is the true, awful, hard truth of an overtime scenario. You just can't wait around. You have to go, and unfortunately, Fries never found the opportunity to go, meaning that game 2 goes to Chua's Mafia there.
Beautiful game 2 from Chua's Mafia, and yeah, Fries just waited a little bit too long for their own good, and that Rainmaker ended up exploding, I think. I don't know if it got sniped, but I think it just exploded at the end, just because they took too long, and Chua's Mafia sitting down, staring Fries in the face, and saying, we're taking you to game 3, and that game 3 is going to be on Clams Mako.
Clams Mako is a certified classic, certified Splatoon 2 classic. It's one of the best, we have a lot of good Clamlet stages in, sorry, my bird just flew. We have a lot of good Clamlet stages in this game, so we're seeing it be played a little bit less, but it's still a fantastic stage with a lot of great options.
Yeah, we have a lot of opinions on this mic here with myself, Weave, Gem, and of course Weave's lovely bird, but yeah, getting onto the certified classic that is Clams Mako, you know, it's a very aggressive Clams map. We've talked a lot about stages like Eel Tail or stages like Museum on the stream, where it's quite a long journey to get to that basket, whereas conversely, Clams Mako, you can get from one basket to the other in about 7 seconds if the route is painted for you, which is just ridiculously fast, and at least with being a very dynamic mode where big pushes are really heavily rewarded and breakaway plays can actually work pretty solidly because the other team could just be stuck on the other side of the map, and the breakaway is right there. It's very quickly to get from one side to the other.
Yeah, it's a really, really short map, like you said. You know, you're a stone's throw away from the enemy's clam basket at any given time, so that does affect the play. It's not like Museum where you have to really force yourself in. You can kind of just gain control in just a few seconds, and we're gonna see how these teams take advantage of that as we go into game 3, Chua's Mafia versus Fries.
Yeah, neither team changed their confidence the last game. They liked how they were playing, but Chua's Mafia was the team to come out on top, so Fries is going to have to respond. This is a winner-take-all Game 3 series. Whoever wins this goes up 4-0 and puts themselves in a phenomenal spot to move on to day 2 tomorrow in the upper bracket. And already a lot of pressure from Fries being put on this left side. It's just the machine there that's being forced to run away, but the machine is able to get the pick on that splash. Both splashes go down to the side of Fries. It's just this shot and the charger left for them, and Chua's Mafia is trying to get a good push started as the shot and the charger are forced to retreat.
Yeah, that was a big scrap fest in mid, and so many people went down there. You know, this hero shot is just going to try to get a pick with that Ingzuka, but unfortunately they don't, you know, proving just the sheer volatility of that special versus what we saw last game. So we're just going to see how this goes here as Fries is going to start to move back into mid, but the bow is still there. They still have quite a few players up. The bow goes down, but it's going to be not easy when Chua's Mafia has such a decent hold, but looks like they're starting to make it work.
and neither teams feel comfortable enough to score, but right now the clam economy is in the favor of Chuit's Mafia. They have a ball made, they threw it back to that bow. That Splash also has quite a few clams of their own, but they don't have the mid control. Yomfries has this mid painted so yellow that it's hard for Chuit's Mafia to move forward. This machine has the Booyah though. These could be the specials that Chuit's Mafia needs to make it to that basket. Nice pick on that hero shot, but that's not a trade they would want to take. It's 2 versus 3 in the favor of Yomfries, and Chuit's Mafia is probably not going to get this push all the way through.
Yeah, they did have the ability to control mid for a few seconds there, but unfortunately, Yomfries is just kind of collapsing in on them, making sure that mid is theirs once again, especially with that crab on their side, especially with the splatter scope that is going to be watching mid pretty strongly here, making sure that nobody is going to be able to move up that breakfast for quite a while, and they do have the vacuum method ready. The clam economy is looking like it's in their favor with, 2 super clams on the board. All they need left is control, and they have the makings for a very good push. And with 3 down on the side of Chuit's, it's looking like this is their moment.
Yeah, Chuit's Mafia only has that bow remaining, and that bow just jumped out, which is a big green sign for Yomfries to just keep this push going. They sent 2 back to get some more clams. They got this point down to 30, which is just ridiculous for a first push. And Yomfries are still alive, still getting clams. That hero shot has 3 clams, throwing them in the basket, gets it down to 21. That Charger has clams now, trying to get those to the basket, and Yomfries is just cycling in and out for who's going to bring clams to that basket, and Chuit's Mafia is just really struggling to pin them down. This machine is trying to find some picks, but Yomfries is in striking distance of this knockout. The Charger has 3 clams that they can just throw it in. They will take this game, but they're not going to be able to do it before the basket closes, and Yomfries not getting that knockout. Chuit's Mafia defending a little bit longer as that brush goes for that sneaky flank.
Yeah, they're just trying to get as much mid control as they can off of the essential wipe that they got. But they were unfortunately unable to hold it with the brush going down. The brush was just annoying, but they were, slapped like a mosquito. They were down. And now once again, it's on them. They're in a really uncomfortable situation. It's not easy to get down to all the way to 9 points in a span of 2 minutes. That's something that you kind of have to work at the entire game, especially when they don't even have a push on the board yet. They're starting to get pretty desperate here, it's looking like.
Yeah, things are looking rough for Chuit's Mafia. Yomfries got it all the way down to 9 in 1 push, which is ridiculous. And Chuit's Mafia has a tall task ahead of them because it's only their bow that has a clam. Their bow is the only one with a clam.
As well.
They do have a pity, but it's just the ball and the bow. Yomfries has 2 balls of their own. They are being located, but they just have so much pressure being put onto Chuit's Mafia that it's hard for them to even move. They're not able to get control of the stacks that they need to get these pushes going.
They are starting to move into mid. This bow is going to make sure that there's a lot of good chip damage going out for this crab to take advantage of. But they aren't quite in a position to push yet, and especially with so few clams on the board, this is going to be the super clam going in, but do they have the clams to support it? The answer looks like no, as 2 go down. The Splash is trying to get clams. They do get 1 in, but that's not what they want. The Splash is in a very uncomfortable situation and is not going to be able to get any more than just a few clams in, and with 50 seconds left on the board, it's not looking great for Chuit's right now.
Yeah, things are looking rough for Chuit's Mafia right now. Yomfries just has so much control on the board. Chuit's Mafia is just desperately trying to just hold on to however they can, but Yomfries, they just have so much map control, so much turf control, and their aggression is just being so good. They have specials at the ready too. They have the Zuka and they have the Vac to just stuff out any aggression from Chuit's Mafia. They get the pick on the Splash, but the machine is down as well, and Chuit's has just not been able to establish a good advantage. Right now they have the numbers though. If they can start to move forward and get some turf control on their side, they might be able to convert it into a push.
A great pick on Kiwi over there. They do have the makings of push right now. There are 2 down. They have the crab ready. They have a few clams on the board. Not quite enough to get the lead right away, but they are going to start getting it in right now. Already down to 64. Just going to keep resetting that clam timer and keep trying to maintain control, but it doesn't look like they have the strongest control yet. They do have specials going out, though. The BL is going to help. The whale that I'm sure is going to see popped out help, but that's 3 down. That is unfortunately a wipeout, which does mark the end of this game. Officially. Now
it marks
it's
the end
official.
of the game in the series. Yomfries takes it over Chuit's Mafia 2-1, and they are now undefeated 4-0 in their group. Yomfries in a phenomenal spot to move on to day 2. Kudos to Chuit's Mafia, but they just came up just short against Yomfries at the end.
But it's absolutely not over. They did put up a very, very good fight, which does mean, they could do well in their other games and still eke out their way into day 2. So we're just going to see how that goes there. But as of right now, we're going to look back in this set and see some of the critical moments, tossing it over to Jim on the analysis desk here.
So here we are taking a look at our first round here on Hagglefish. This was a really weird kind of stalemate because this is one of those maps where you kind of expect to be seeing a really kind of snowbally push once teams get through this checkpoint, this first checkpoint right here. First checkpoint is a huge moment in the game because as soon as you can clear that, you can get people over onto this top right-hand side stronghold, which is really dangerous. You can't let the opponents get up into there or it's trouble. And from there, you have to kind of come around this weird blind corner that you're left side peeking or see awkwardly over the top of this ledge that you know your opponents are going to be shooting at. So typically, once you actually get control of the second checkpoint, you're often able to push pretty far. Problem in this match was that nobody ever actually got control of that first checkpoint. It just kept going back and forth. And even, this far into the game, a minute, 2 minutes in, nobody had actually really gotten very far past that checkpoint. It is finally around the midway mark of the game that gets cleared at all for Chewits Mafia. And then finally, they linger around here at the 67 mark for a little while, but finally Yamfries is able to get enough control that they are able to break through this check. And I gotta give credit to Spore here for that killer whale. One of the things you'll see Brushes doing is running around with the brush down, with the killer whale out, to spread out those lasers so they're coming from a variety of different angles. And you can see there, Spore, as one player, was able to shut down a push against 3 other members. But with that double coming out from the Trizuka, that's going to give enough momentum to Yamfries for them to be able to get out and get this lead that they're able to get to. Good defense on the part of Chewits Mafia to keep them out after 34, but they were just never able to put together a push of that magnitude themselves. They're using all of their specials to be able to get into mid in the first place and, losing players as they try to push up there. So it just wasn't in the cards in the end. Game 2, we see a little bit of a switch up going from the E-Leader to the Splatter Scope. So not a huge difference there, but we are going to have an Ink Vac instead of the Wave Breaker. And it, probably means that they're not as interested in the push. They're not interested in having the extra range for the push. They think they can cover everything that they need to cover using just that weapon that they've got. So again, we have a little bit of a stalemate on this map. Both teams are really struggling to get control of the Rainmaker after they win fights. We'll see, multiple players going down from either side, but then when the Rainmaker actually gets picked up, they're not able to get it past mid. They finally do manage to get a checkpoint knocked out around the 315 mark here. And this is just like a kind of YOLO push. They are able to get the pop right here. And then somebody sneaks in to snag it. And that's how they're able to go and get the rest of that checkpoint down. You can see all the paint on the bottom side. Caden sneaks in. But that's not a real push. And ultimately, that leads to a full wipe, but Chewits Mafia isn't quite able to capitalize off of this fight win, and that was sort of the what we've been seeing. The lack of the speed to be able to take advantage when they win advantages, because Chewits Mafia is going to be able to get over here, but they're not quite able to protect the Rainmaker. Little things are sneaking through and stopping them from getting quite all the way that they should. One thing that I also want to point out is, there's been a lot of talk recently about the crab tank and about how it's, so centralizing in the game. Here is an example, though, of crab tanks that don't actually end up working out for them. Crab tank is not necessarily just an easy mode, press button, win special kind of special. They pop 2 crab tanks here and just don't make it out of mid, and this is really great kind of kiting, really great zoning from Chewits Mafia to be able to withstand this push despite multiple crabs being popped, despite the Trizuka being popped. They just shred the crab, and absolutely no progress is made out of mid for Yamfries here. So really well played defense there. But ultimately, it does come down to a push that they are able to make right around this point in the game here. Chewits Mafia gets some picks, and they're finally able to keep the Rainmaker alive long enough that they can get specials on the enemy team and get a crab in the spawn while the Rainmaker is forward. And that lets them get to this really crazy 21-point sprint that is going to end up going uncontested. Finally, we'll move things over to the last game here, Mako Mart Clam Blitz. One thing I want to talk about the rollout here. There are kind of two philosophies for a rollout. You either want to roll out and be a little bit, modest, a little bit patient, and go for specials, which is what we end up seeing Chewits Mafia doing. Or you can roll out to try and get picks and try and get the players down before they go for specials. We see Caden try to do that here. Almost ends up working out, but runs into Samage, and in the meanwhile, somebody else is going down on the left-hand side. And so ultimately, when the specials do come in, Chewits Mafia has the numbers advantage and are able to push them back with it. So an interesting view of how a rollout can go. Trades are going to go back and forth in mid for a little while here. Not an awful lot gets done early on, in keeping with what we've seen, where both teams are playing good enough defense and having enough trouble capitalizing on offense that we're struggling to really get in there and get something done on the map. But we reach this 310 here, and we get this really scattered engagement from Chewits Mafia. They all get separated by the various specials going out, and they end up going 3 down, and this leads to a massive push from Yam Fries. They just blow the game wide open with this push here. One thing that I want to, again, give credit to is the way that Spore, at the end of this push, is able to back the enemy team up, kind of get control of the map back. Because if you see here, they're ticking down to 12. They tick down to 9. But now look at the map, and you'll see that Spore is in the enemy base. The entire enemy team has to deal with Spore right now, and so they're not able to get back in there and get any more clams in. So Spore kind of saves the game, despite only getting the 1-for-1 trade at the end there, by just enforcing that much map control and letting Chewits Mafia get back out there. Really good play from the skirmisher there to just gain the enemy's attention long enough to not let the KO happen. That says KO isn't really what they need here. They need to be able to win the game, get all the way down to 9, and it's just really difficult to do that. And ultimately, the game will end up going to the Yam Fries here after their really powerful push.
Thank you, Jim. But we are going to be getting right back into it right now. We're going into Penguin versus Squid and Good right now. No time to waste. Two absolute powerhouses of teams going to be duking it out in this last game that we have here. Look at these comps that we have. We see the triple splash and the machine from the side of Penguin, and something slightly a bit more quirky from the side of Squid and Good with that Stamper out here.
Yeah, and I mean, both of these teams are 4-0. They are fighting for the right of first seed. I believe they both make the top bracket, but getting that first seed in an easier bracket is so good. But I mean, this action is already starting. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, I would like to once again say thank you very much to Jem from Squid School for doing an amazing job on this analysis desk and just providing a lot of insight here for this tournament. But already, Penguin is giving Jem a lot of stuff to talk about as they take immediate control of the zone here in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, they have, there are so many advantages to having Triple Crab. You are able to completely shut them out if you're able to cycle them correctly. So right now we already see that first crab go out. The rest of Penguin is just shuffling onto their plat here. The Tri-Strikes are getting out and attempt to shut it down, but it's still putting out a lot of pressure. The Stamper, though, gets the pick finally. It's going up and snapping them in the back from behind. And Penguin still, though, is not giving up, even though they were down a bit, and they are going to get those jumps in. Just holding super, super strong here. Already down to 40 points in the first minute. Very impressive.
I'm still absolutely flabbergasted that Penguin is running the most Splatoon 3 comp of all time, and Squid and Good is running the most anti-Splatoon 3 comp of all time. But, I mean, you know what? Everything in Splatoon 3 begins and ends with Crab, and Penguin is trying to end it right here and now with their Crab tanks. They have 3 of their own. They're just pincering this poor feller in that gallery, and they're still having control of the zone. Squinting Good still is not taking it yet. Penguin's still holding it. They're at 10 points left, and that timer takes on oh so fast. It's just that 10 attack left for Squinting Good. It's not going to be enough to cap the zone, and Penguin takes a very dominant 100-0 game 1.
That was blink and you'll miss it. It was that fast, incredibly fast, incredibly dominant from Penguin there, showing that even though there are plenty of ways to play around Crab now with the tri-strikes that we saw and Stamper doing a ton of Crab damage, there's still time today, huh?
And we're back. Welcome back. Hello everyone, I'm Broken Pinky. I'm joined here by Weef, and we're going into game 2 of Penguin versus Squinting Good on Inkblot TC.
Are we? Wait. What's going on? I'm confused. We're dying left and right.
I think we're live. I think we're good.
Okay.
I'm seeing an ad on Twitch.tv.
All right, fantastic. So we are back into it. Awesome. Okay, so we're going right back into it. Inkblot on TC. We're gonna see Squinting Good here stick to their guns with the Stamper, but bending to the meta just a little bit, bringing out a splash of their own. And Penguin not budging an inch. They know what works, and they're going to abuse that.
Penguin quite literally sticking to their guns. I mean, they have a lot of guns. They have a lot of guns to work with, and a washing machine. But that washing machine is just gonna get caught out immediately by Squinting Good on that splash. But I mean, I just want to point out again, because we have not had a lot of time to collect our thoughts, because it's just been non-stop action. But Penguin right now is up 1-0 in the set. If Penguin wins this game or any other, they will take the set over Squinting Good, and they will be 5-0 for the day. One of the very few teams to be 5-0. It's a huge honor, and more importantly, it's a great seeding position for day 2, and that's all about what this match is setting up for that day 2. But Squinting Good is on that push right now, getting it down to 50 points and getting that second checkpoint.
Yeah, I absolutely would not count Squinting Good out yet, especially with such a strong opening push. They do end getting wiped out, but they use their specials incredibly well there, managing to break through the first checkpoint and get most of the way through the second checkpoint. So that's incredibly strong. They're feeling pretty good right now, and they are going to come back out. I see them charging their specials, making sure that they are going to have a easy time getting back in. They get a Crab, that's a huge pick, or they get a Splash who had a Crab ready, which is a huge pick, and already Penguin is 2 down yet again. This is an entirely different game that we saw the last set. Making sure they are getting the picks that they needed. They are suppressing them and making sure that they don't get wiped out, they don't get knocked out, they are not down for the count like they were last time.
Yeah, thank you, Wii, for reminding us that you cannot count out Squinting Good, because they've been Squinting Good all day. They're 4-0 as well. I mean, these are the two teams at the top of the pool and trying to be at the top of the tournament, and when it's all said and done, and Squinting Good is on a phenomenal push once again, and they're already through that second checkpoint, and they have so much control over Penguin's plat right now, and they have tower special advantage on their side. They're just charging for that third checkpoint, and Penguin struggling to find a defense. One of their splashes goes down. That's one less Crab they have. Here come those tri-strikes. Another Crab is popped instantly, trying to get this defense. Squinting Good is not budging an inch. They're still on that tower, but now they go 3 down. Squinting Good forced to retreat, but they got all 3 checkpoints under their belt, and Penguin has not even gotten 1 yet.
Yeah, they're making sure Penguin feels so uncomfortable here. They are keeping them out of mid. They do have mid control right now, but they're not progressing much past it. They do have Penguin does have plenty of special on the board that they can use, but they got snuck behind. Not sure what that was all about, but now the entire side of Penguin was lit up briefly in that beautiful special color rainbow for a second. We're just gonna see so many Crab tanks here in the next 30 or so seconds that it's going to be a massive problem for Squinting Good, and they're really going to have to figure out how they're going to deal with all of these Crabs going out and making sure that their plat is never safe to be in.
I mean, there is a Crab Rave going on, but that Crab Rave is far in front of the tower, and by the time the tower gets here, no more Crabs for Penguin to use, but Penguin still has this numbers advantage. It's 4 versus 2, trying to get it 4 versus 1. There it is. It's just that machine left holding that Booyah Bomb. Penguin is very close to getting through the second checkpoint. They've traded spots on the tower, doing the do-si-do to clear it for sure, but the machine on Penguin goes down, and they're still ways away from that third checkpoint. Crab is popped on tower. Booyah Bomb is going to go behind him. Not quite going to shred it. Not quite going to get the kill. Penguin has to get this third checkpoint, but it's just the Stamper alive. Zipcastering all around on the tower. That's the wipeout. That's going to be the lead, and that's going to be the knockout for Penguin if they take a 2-0 over. No, they don't. They don't. It's just defended.
No, it's not. we see just Penguin get completely knocked out. Squiding Good has the wind back in their sails. They're going to be able to move back in the mid. They're going to charge their specials, try to do anything that they can because, you know, the only thing that can keep this set from going to Penguin is now a complete knockout. What insane moment there. But we're going to see if Squiding Good, with all of their specials ready, can make something out of this, can take it back, can prove that they are not out again.
I would like to apologize to Squiding Good for attempting to predict a future in which they do not win. They are proving me wrong every step of the way, but they have a minute to make this comeback. They have to get it all the way down to 1. While they're at it, they might as well get the knockout. But they have the numbers advantage versus Penguin, but the crab is coming out. Squiding Good does not have a crab of their own right now. It's 3 versus 4 in the favor of Penguin. The T-Tech gets picked off as it's retreating. This is not looking Squiding Good right now for them, as Penguin is just rushing for defense, and Squiding Good only has about 35 seconds to make this push happen.
They just have to get on the tower and then hold it from there. But they are 2 down, so it's going to be really hard to get the control they need. This tower. It is a mode all about just controlling the area in front of the tower so you can feel comfortable sitting on it. If you're going to be dancing the entire time, you're going to get shot, you're going to get killed. And right now, Penguin has all the advantage in the world. They have the numbers, they have the specials, they have the tower right now. They're just continuing to get picks, getting up in their plat, making sure that Squiding Good is in their grave. The crab coming out as the final nail in the coffin, and it does not look like they're going to get there, just barely in time. Game 2 and the set goes to Penguin. Penguin comes out of their group 5-0, and Squiding Good 4-1.
Yeah, beautifully done by Penguin there, getting a phenomenal push all the way down to 2. Squiding Good was playing incredibly in that game too. Do not be mistaken, but Penguin just playing a little bit better, and they are going to be the group leaders for the day. Both of these teams obviously making it to day 2 in that top bracket. We might see either of them on stream, but it is Penguin taking that higher seed over Squiding Good, and phenomenally deserved, as they played incredibly today and all through the set and through all day.
So if you thought the sets today were great, just wait till you see tomorrow, because tomorrow is where it really counts. Tomorrow is where if you lose, you're knocked out. Well, you know, eventually. But all these teams are gonna be fighting, especially the alpha level teams are gonna be fighting for that prize pool. And speaking of the prize pool, we just got another €15 donation. Thank you once again for that. You are keeping our scene alive, making sure that these top players do have something to, you know, look forward to for all of their awesome efforts, for giving us such a great show. And but also thank you for all the TOs and our streamers and everyone who also makes this possible, because this scene would not be here without them. They are the oil in the competitive machine, and we, you know, like I said, would not be here without them. So thank you. It's National Thank a TO Day, essentially.
Exactly. Every day is Thank a TO Day. I mean, everyone at Dapple Productions has just been working tooth and nail to make sure this event works, and it works as well as possible. And while there's always a few bumps in the road, we hope that we present to you amazing content. And I mean, this prize pool is insane. It's encroaching on $1,600 US, which is just ridiculous thanks to all these community efforts. But unfortunately, we will not see where that prize pool goes today. That is a task for tomorrow, and tomorrow is the next time you'll see this gameplay, because that's gonna be it for us, unfortunately.
You do not want to miss tomorrow, but like Pinky said, that is going to be it for us. Pinky, where can we find you?
You guys can find me at Twitter at brokenpinky_, where I occasionally post really bad takes and some fun tweets sometimes. But Weef, where can the wonderful people find you?
You can find my equally awful takes and my equally awful streams on Twitter and Twitch at WeefSlider. But thank you all for showing up, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching so much. I really hope you guys enjoyed your broadcast today, because it's only going to get better tomorrow. It's going to get tighter. We're going to have better analysis, better commentator, better gameplay, better everything. So stay tuned. Have a great day, and make sure to come back tomorrow, where this tournament really takes a turn for the best.
Thank you.